Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Ask Mr. Long Island. My name is Michael Watt, aka Mr. Long Island, and this week our guest is Bernie Kilkelly of the Long Island Beer Guide, a subject near and dear to my heart. So Bernie, thank you very much for joining this afternoon. And the whole point of Ask Mr. Long Island is to shine a spotlight on issues or organizations that really contribute to the quality of life that we've all come to enjoy as Long Islanders. And certainly somebody who's an expert on craft beer and beer in general, that certainly contributes quite a bit to our quality of life. So Bernie, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. And we've been doing this for a while now, and we always start every episode talking about pizza. And what better compliment to pizza than beer? Being a Jesuit-educated man myself, I know quite a bit about pizza and beer. And what we'd like to do is find out what's your favorite pizza place on Long Island. The idea being, if you had people coming in from out of town, where would you take them to really impress them?
Sure. We live in Lynbrook, Long Island,
Okay.
and have thankfully, several very good pizza places. We have Joey's on our speed dial for takeout, and Vincent's and Angelina's are very good to eat in.
All right, Joey's is where?
It's in Lynbrook.
Where in Lynbrook?
Right off of Sunrise Highway.
Okay, and Angelina's?
They're on the main street, Atlantic Avenue in
Okay,
Lynbrook.
and the third was?
Vincent's
Where's
also
Vincent's?
there on Atlantic Avenue.
So Lynbrook's not that big a town.
Right.
And considering the town of Lynbrook got its name by reversing the syllables of Brooklyn, you'd almost be legally obligated to have good pizza there. So you gave us 3, that's terrific, thank you so much. Bernie, let's talk about, there's a beer festival, a craft beer festival on Long Island this weekend. Where is it? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, at Great South Bay Brewery in Bayshore.
Okay.
There's going to be a festival this Saturday called Bayfest.
Okay.
And it's I believe the 3rd annual, and it is the crowning the last major event of a week-long celebration of craft beer on Long Island called Long Island Craft Beer Week, which started last Wednesday.
Now, the Great South Bay Brewery, where is that? In Bayshore? Where in
Bayshore, just north of Old Montauk Highway. They have
Okay.
a beautiful facility with a tasting room. They set up tents, and they're expecting a nice crowd.
Now, a crowd from, I guess, all over Long Island or from beyond the Long Island area, where do the people come from? How do they know about it?
Mostly from Long Island. There's a huge community of craft beer lovers that has sprung up on Long Island. It's actually been here for a long time, but with the growth of social media, with the explosion in the number of craft breweries, brew pubs, beer bars on Long Island, it's really just a fantastic time to be a beer lover. Well,
let's talk about 2 things. One, I want to talk about what to expect when you go to this festival. We're talking about craft beer. What's the difference between a craft beer and, let's say, a mass-marketed beer, or a Budweiser, or a Coors, or whatever?
Sure, I think you hit it right on the head. The craft beer is made in smaller batches with premium ingredients. That's really at the heart of it. And it's fresh beer, so you typically want to drink it right away. It's often served fresh at a pub, or now anywhere on Long Island pretty much you can go and get growlers filled, which are small glass containers to have fresh beer.
Well, I think Samuel Adams really kind of broke through, and the craft beers have been around forever, but Sam Adams was the first one to kind of take it to a commercial level, and they had a great tagline. It said, Budweiser spills more beer than we produce in a year, really just kind of tweaking Budweiser a little bit. But the idea is the beer is made locally. Walk us through.
Typically, yes. Actually, there was a real decline in the number of breweries. Part of it was due to prohibition. Part of it was just a change in the appetite for beer lovers here in the U.S.
Well, if you grew up on Long Island, if you're a certain age, you remember Rheingold used to be made in Brooklyn, Schaefer used to be made in Brooklyn.
And there was actually, it goes back though to the 40s, the last commercial brewery on Long Island was the Linden Brewery in Lindenhurst, which had been founded before Prohibition by some German people Lindenhurst was originally a German town.
Sure.
And It closed though in 1949. They chose not to bottle their beer, which at the time people wanted to have the convenience of bringing beer home in bottles, and so they lost out to the larger breweries in Brooklyn at the time. Eventually those breweries in Brooklyn lost out to the even bigger breweries, Busch, Anheuser-Busch and Miller. And so there was a huge consolidation in brewing and the number of breweries. And only 30 years ago, there were probably 100 breweries around the country. But it's really 40 years. 1979, Sierra Nevada was founded in California, and like a lot of trends in food and wine and then beer, the microbrewery movement, what's now really called craft beer,
Right.
started in California and it spread across the country. Samuel Adams, Boston Beer was founded in '84. Brooklyn Brewery, close to home, was 1987.
Sure.
So that was a return of brewing to Brooklyn. And now on Long Island, it took a little longer on Long Island. Blue Point Brewery was the first brewery really in 1998.
And Blue Point's in Patchogue?
Yes.
Okay. And it's interesting how the pendulum has swung away from the mass-produced, and it's almost in conjunction. I see now a lot of places emphasizing the fact that the food is grown locally and the ingredients are more organic. Is that the case with the
Yes.
craft beers?
Yes, it ties right into the freshness and the high quality of the ingredients and the local ingredients. In fact, there's a hop farm out in Suffolk County now on the North Shore.
I did not know that.
Condizella hops, which
Okay.
they're started a few years ago. It'll take them a while to get up to having enough hops to really supply a large number, but there are smaller breweries on Long Island already using those hops.
So, all right, so we know a little bit more about craft beer. What can we expect if we go to this festival this weekend?
Well, the festival movement on Long Island has been a big contributor to the growth of the market, because it educates people what any of these festivals typically, and there are a few of them, almost a dozen a year of good size.
On Long Island?
On Long Island.
That's interesting.
Nassau Coliseum, some are at the breweries in Patchogue or now in Bayshore. There's a terrific one out at on one of the vineyards on the North Shore that is the North Fork Craft Beer Festival in August, which is always a great event. And typically you pay one price, you get a glass, and you're able to taste as many as 50 beers from 50 different breweries
Wow.
at one time. Also while sampling good food, listening to live music. And so it's a great experience, but it's done, and these started about 10 years ago. I think Blue Point was one of the first to have
Right.
a festival, and then there's a company called Starfish Junction, which has done a great job. Andy and Linda Calamano, they have produced festivals at Nassau Coliseum, Belmont Racetrack, and the one in the North Fork.
Now, I would imagine you talk about taste and testings. The craft brewery really is almost a manifestation of it. People just don't pound down 11 and 12 beers like they used to, because for a variety of social reasons. It's a beer to be savored and enjoyed. Is that a big difference?
Exactly. It's quality versus quantity.
Great.
And the other thing, you don't have to, in some cases, drink as many, because they are...
It's a little more robust.
It's more robust, higher in alcohol, which gives it a better flavor. So you really don't want to be pounding down these types of beers.
But it's a much more fulfilling experience.
And it's a great pairing with food.
Right.
There's actually been a lot of competitions and events where there'll be a contest between wine and beer, which is best with certain dishes, pizza and beer. But you'd be surprised that steak can be paired with certain types of beer.
Sure.
And give you a great experience.
Is there a website where people can get more information about this event?
Yes, for the event on Saturday, Great South Bay's website, greatsouthbaybrewery.com or bayfest.com. And Long Island Craft Beer Week has its own website, which has events. There are dozens of events taking place this week.
Wow.
And it started last Wednesday, actually, and this was a great initiative I believe spearheaded by Dave Schultzer of Bellport Cold
Okay.
Beer and Brewing, to add a charitable element into the Long Island Craft Beer Week. And they kicked off the whole week-long celebration with an event in Melville called Craft Cares, and basically raised money for Long Island Cares, the Harry Chapin Food
Terrific.
Bank.
That's terrific, Bernie. Thank you so much for walking us through the Craft Beer Festival. It's taking place this week. And we're going to take a break and come back and talk about your website and your passion for craft brewery. This has been an episode of Ask Mr. Long Island. My name is Michael Watt, a.k.a. Mr. Long Island. Our guest today is Bernie Kilkelly of the Long Island Beer Guide.com, and thank you very much.
Hello everyone, I'm Corinne Murphy-Caro, and I'm the founder of TheDailyBlue.com. The Daily Blue is all about spreading positive news about Long Islanders, and we want to hear from you. Tell us your stories. Our show hosts are waiting to hear from you. Sponsor an ad or advertise with us. Call us now, 631-761-9223.
Good afternoon. We're back with Ask Mr. Long Island. My name is Michael Watt, a.k.a. Mr. Long Island. Our guest this afternoon is Bernie Kilkelly. Bernie, thank you again for joining us. We spent a few minutes talking about the Beer Craft Festival, the Craft Beer Festival coming up this weekend. The website for that, again, is
LongIslandCraftBeerWeek.com.
LongIslandCraftBeerWeek.com.
Yes.
And the reason you know about it is because you have a website that I find fascinating, the LongIslandBeerGuide.com. Walk us through that a little bit. What can somebody expect to find if they go there?
Yes, I've tried to put on this website a comprehensive listing of places to enjoy great beer on Long Island. It comes from my start when I was writing about craft beer. I hate to say, when the internet was really just starting.
Right.
And I wrote for a publication called Ale Street News and wrote a column about the brew pubs and breweries on Long Island. So I've been doing that, over 15 years, and have, witnessed firsthand the explosion and the amount and the quality of breweries and beer bars on Long Island. So I thought it would be good to just put it all in one place.
Well, what's interesting, there's many interesting things about the website, but to me it represents what's Long Island's plus and its minus. In that, you think craft brewery and you can rattle off a half a dozen breweries on Long Island, but in reality there are literally dozens, and it can be almost a little overwhelming.
Yes, and the growth has been phenomenal. Only 10 years ago there were 5 breweries. When Blue Point started in 1998, they were the first. There were 4 brew pubs, which are restaurants that brew beer on premises to serve on premises. But Blue Point in '98 was the first, and it really didn't start until 2007 that more breweries, and there have been at least 1, 2, now 3 a year, and they're up to about 20 breweries on Long Island now.
20 breweries
and
on Long
at
Island.
least
Wow.
another 10, 15 in the works.
Wow.
And ranging in different sizes. They're really developing in different hubs, and I think that's an important thing, is that it's a very cooperative industry, and the brewers love to help each other. So you develop a hub, like Patchogue has Brick House Brewery, which was the first brew pub, and Blue Point, and they work together. In fact, Blue Point used to brew the beer at Brick House.
Wow.
And then Riverhead has now developed into a big hub. There's Greenport Harbor up on the North Fork, and 3 breweries right in Riverhead, all helping each other out. And the next real hub, I think, is Farmingdale, and there's an incubator there, a small store called Taste of Long Island.
Okay.
That became licensed to have small breweries come in and start their brewing process there, rather than having to go out and spend the money for their own
So
equipment.
they can kind of dip their feet in the water a little bit and see how their special brew works before they make that significant investment.
Yes.
And
And
there's
a lot of them
yeah.
are, the people starting these are home brewers. And
Right.
I think that's an important point, is that the home brewing community on Long Island really gave rise to, in many ways, to the love for craft beer. And I'm very pleased to see that there's a resurgence in home brewing. It kind of ebbs and flows, but there are at least 3 or 4 new stores on Long Island where you can go and buy ingredients. There's one in Baldwin near where I live called Home Brews and Hand Grenades. There's one in Patchogue, Glen Cove, I believe. And that's a great way to learn more about craft beer. In fact, that's how I got started out, and was home brewing and then started.
And there's a place in Patchogue, I believe, that has, you can taste couple of dozen different craft breweries.
Yes, Hoptron.
Hoptron.
And there's that the beer bars on Long Island. There's so common. It used to be Croxley Ales was the only
Right.
one that had multi taps. Now there's probably 60 beer bars on Long Island that have more than 20, 25 taps.
Yeah, I mean, recently a friend of mine was coming out from Pennsylvania. I wanted to show off, and I've been out of the beer buying business for a while now, and I walked down to the distributor, and I was lost. So it's very exciting. There's a lot of information on your website, longislandbeerguide.com.
Yes.
If anyone has any questions or looking for some direction, they can contact you through that.
Yes.
Terrific. And good luck with the festival this weekend. I really appreciate your time, and it's a fascinating topic, and to me, it really just showcases how many great things
Good.
there are
And
about Long Island.
And I brought a beer especially for you. This is also one of the charitable initiatives. A special beer that was brewed by 6 of the breweries on Long Island.
How great is
and,
that?
sold for charity.
What?
And to benefit the Harry Chapin Food Bank.
And Harry was a great man. Not enough is known about him, the work he does through Long Island Cares. That's terrific. Bernie, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Good luck with the website, with the festival. This has been another episode of Ask Mr. Long Island. My name is Michael Watt, a.k.a. Mr. Long Island, and we thank you very much for your time.